K.L.C.S. Special guest in the house tonight.
Yes, I give thanks.
King Ital.
Rebel.
King Ital Rebel.
Yes,
excuse me. We're gonna get into let you introduce you to the artist, let you know what's going on with him right now. Once again, TGM Radio, King Lion Caribbean Showcase. Shout out to Father German, Janelle to the core, DJ Rich. Thank you for tuning in again. Mr. Ital Rebel. Good evening.
Yes, I. Listen.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
We're gonna let the listeners know a lot about you tonight. Not a little, a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Very talented young man. You have a lot going on with you. Your journey from where you started to where you're at right now is incredible.
True.
And we're gonna let the listeners know about it. Let the listeners know where you're from, where you got your start in the business.
Initially, I'm from Jamaica. I just started living in the States, probably 10 years now. So the whole ride started since I was a youth. You know, I used to visit the Nyabingi gatherings with my grandmother. And I also used to watch my uncle play sound system in Central Village. He used to play a song called Eagle Love. So I used to, you know, stand around the box and, you know, pass the records and wipe them off. You know, after that, my dad had lived in Willardine, a Spanish town, you know, pretty close. At that time, I lived right next to Creation Sound. That's a sound system that, you know, used to host Papa San,
yes.
Dirtsman, Bunny General, Triller U. I was pretty young, so that was, you know, in the 80s, probably 86, 87, so I was pretty young, but, you know, I could understand what was going on, you know.
Big up Kitty, Selector,
yes,
all for Creation.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Bless it, yeah. So you know what's up, you know what time
yes.
it is. And from that, during 95, I went to school in Mandeville. I went to Manchester High School, so I went to school in Mandeville. During the high school years, I met a group of friends. I had my little sound system, but I had, you know, bigger speakers, you know, more amplifiers and stuff. So eventually we got together and, you know, we started with the sound system there, you know. At the time we were pretty hardcore, more for dancehall, you know, because at one point Luciana did a song for me, and at the time my alias was Killer, and he didn't want to call my name, which I truly, you know, understand and respect, you know.
Big up to Luciano, very talented artist, very dedicated dubplate artist. You give the sounds a lot of love.
Yes, yes, I do. Yeah, he's one of the teachers and one of the masters, you know. But now, you know, I'm older and I lived to talk to Lucy, and, you know, recently I did a song with him. So I was pretty grateful because I shared a conversation with him and told him about the time, you know, when I was pretty young, I went by the alias of Killer and he didn't want to do it. He called everybody else's name except mine.
Okay. We're not even going to get to the part of you recording the song with the artist Luciano as yet.
Okay.
Still dealing with the sound system. What was the name of the sound?
The name of the sound system was Mega Killer Sound. And that was from Mandeville. Mega Killer.
Okay, but for the listeners again, in the sound clash arena, when we say killer, we're speaking of killing other sounds.
Yeah. No violence.
No violence.
No violence, no.
Okay, so your very first start after witnessing the Nyabingi and witnessing the artist live on Creation, your very first venture into the business was to build your own sound system.
Correct. I, you know, pull every radius in the house, tear them apart, you know, and build my own scoop boxes and stuff, you know what I mean? So that's where it really started, you know. And I had friends gathering around.
Okay, so growing up as a youth in Jamaica, you have your sound system, you're actively voicing dubplates. Where did you move on to next in your career?
Well, after sound system, it was a lot of us on the sound system. It was probably like 8 to 12 of us on the sound system. So after high school years, everything, you know, sort of disintegrated. You know, everyone, you know, someone went here to the States, somebody else went to Kingston, somebody else had to work. So everything pretty much, you know, fell apart for some time until probably, I would say from 2000 until, you know, probably 9 years, because I really started in 2009 after that. After the whole system fell apart.
Okay, so the sound system fell apart.
Yeah.
Everybody's going their separate ways.
Separated ways.
You made a decision to venture off on your own.
Yes, correct.
Were you still going by the name Killer at that point in time, or did you change the name at that point?
You know, the moment I started living in the States, I realized the name Killer wasn't gonna go anywhere. You know what I mean? Because you know, people look at you different. I say, "Hi, my name is Killer." What do you mean by Killer? So yeah, my name pretty much changed since then.
Okay, so you migrated to the U.S. You grew as a young man to the
Correct.
point where you realized you had to do other things to further your career.
Most definitely.
At this point in time, what was your next step?
My next step, during a period of time, it was a rough spot in New York. You know, sometimes you have ups and downs. And I'd moved to Miami. I think it was 2010, 2009. And at the time, my girlfriend, her parents, you know, they had passed away in a car accident. And, you know, her mom, she's always telling me about eating vegetarian. And my grandmother from Jamaica, she's a vegetarian. So they always, you know, have this vegetarian thing. So after they passed away, you know, I took it pretty hard. And I started growing my hair and, you know, started reading books. You know, even though my grandfather and my grandmother, they've been into the whole Rastafarian thing. You know, but, you know, that's when I really, you know, really found the Most High. And so it started since then.
Okay.
Since 2010, yeah.
So you found a calling out of your personal tragedy.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. You started growing your locks. You started living the Rastafarian lifestyle.
True.
Musically, where did your career move to next at this point in time?
During the time I started growing my hair, so it transpired from, you know, the whole Rastafari vibration to, I started up, actually a recipe site. The name of it was Ital Recipes. And from italrecipes.com, you know, people had hit me up, oh, good recipes, man, or, you know, good stuff you have going. And it just clicked to my brain that, you know, I used to, you know, be on the sound system making music. So I made the transition from the recipe side to jam rock vibes. So I started promoting music for younger artists.
Like I said, we're going to let the listeners know a lot tonight.
Yes,
so
sir.
before we move on to the music website, you're going to give us a little bit more about this recipe website that you were doing for a minute. The reason I asked that is because you switched your lifestyle.
Yes, sir.
You became vegan.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How was it you were able to transition your lifestyle, your way of eating, into recipes and give it to the people? Were you always cooking before? Did you have a talent with cooking?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
I always loved to cook. You know, I always loved to cook. So, you know, that's kind of natural. Watching my grandmother or my mom, you know, spicing, or my uncle spicing, you know, the food. So I always have a passion for cooking.
And you were that much knowledgeable that you were able to create a website and give people recipes?
Yeah, actually that was the first website I created. You know, I didn't know the know-how. I asked a lot of people. You know, I was willing to pay money. But sometimes, you know, people are a little bit standoff. I mean, you can't really fight them for that because when they do that, it opens opportunity for you. You know?
Okay.
You kind of break barriers that you don't necessarily would break if, you know, they had did it for you. So it's a positive.
Okay. You touched on having a hand in the sound system earlier in your career.
Yes.
And that gave you the inspiration to create a new website.
Yes, definitely.
The name of the website was?
The first website, the name of it was Ital Recipes. Then after that was, you know, that's when Jam Rock Vibes started.
Okay, Jam Rock Vibes. That's the name I'm looking for.
Jam Rock Vibes.
Okay. What were you offering to fans online, the lovers of reggae music online with this website?
With the music website?
Yes.
I was more highlighting, initially when I first went online, you know, the whole recipe transition to Jam Rock Vibes, you know, I was searching for music. But I couldn't really find, you know, the type of vibe that I would listen to, like the more old school, Prince Ella, Dennis Brown, Gregory Isaac, you know, Sugar Minott, you know what I mean, Tenassa. You know, you would just mostly see like the new music, which there's nothing wrong with it because as I mentioned before, you know, to promote the young artists and also the archive music. So that's what gave me the inspiration to start the website.
Okay.
Because I didn't see those stuff being promoted per se.
Okay, so
I mean, you do see music promoted, but you know, not on that scale. Probably, you know, new projects, and they don't get reposted. So
okay, so you created a website where you could basically highlight not only new upcoming talent, but also highlight old classics and
yes,
old,
correct.
maybe unheard records.
Yes, correct.
From the older artists.
Because you have younger youths, you know, so you really have to teach them. Because I used to love those music growing up, so I know if they, you know, probably even hear the shake or the snare or the drums, they would, you know, kind of vibe too. So, definitely.
Okay. So, tell us more about the Jamrock website and what that journey entailed, what you were offering to the people. Besides just the music, what type of feedback did you get from the fans?
Well, I got a lot of positive feedbacks because when I really just started out, we had, I think it was 14,000 registered members, so it was growing. So each and every day people would even just write to say what's up, or, you know, to even hold a spiritual balance or so, because, you know, a lot of times people go into our, you know, problems and they would reach out. So not just music, it would be, you know, spiritual upliftment also, you know, with some teachings from Marcus Garvey, K.L.C., you know.
Okay.
Definitely.
Did the website allow you to build relationships with the artists that you were promoting?
Oh, most definitely, because afterwards we started doing interviews and reviews a lot. So most definitely.
Okay.
I built a lot of connections through the website, definitely.
Okay. So the website is growing, you're doing reviews of albums, you're doing interviews.
Yes.
At this point in time, the website was your brainchild.
True, definitely.
At this point in time, are you building a team around you with the website, or other people involved helping you, or is this still?
I had a few people around, because on the website I also have a radio station, like an internet radio, where I set up where, you know, anywhere in the world you're from, you know, I could just send you a bunch of codes and you could just log in to the website and you could play. We used to have DJs from, you know, France, Trinidad, Jamaica, a lot of places. Now, you know, because there's not much money involved. I'm not saying they were doing it for money, but there's a provide, so they can't sit around and play music all day. They have to provide for the youth. So doing it down to probably 2 guys, you know. Adrian from, he's from Switzerland, he's from Ghana, but he lives in Switzerland. And Adrian from Trinidad that play on the radio station. So yeah, I had a few people, you know, join and, you know.
Okay. You have the website established, you're doing interviews, you're doing reviews, you're building your relationships with the artists. Obviously, it wasn't enough for you.
No, not at all, not at all.
Again, talented young man.
No, sir.
What did you decide you wanted to be the next step in your career at that point in time?
Okay, the next step was producing music. You know, because I listen to so many music for the day, probably, you know, 500, 600 music, because I constantly listen to music and my inbox is constantly, you know, popping off. So after that, I said, okay, I want to produce music. But first, you know, having a website, you have connections with the artists, but, you know, the next step is producing. I've never really produced before. My friends, they produce, but I've never really, you know, picked up a keyboard or a guitar or anything. You know what I mean? So it started where I contact a friend of mine, because I used to promote music for him also. His name is Nika Rebel. And I told him, hey man, you don't want to do my first project? And he said, sure, no problem. You know? And so we did the rhythm, and I did some songs with Sizzla, Luton Fire, Ital, and Alexander Starr. That was actually my first release.
Okay.
So that's the next step from promoting music.
Great artist to have on a first release, but you're gonna have to give our listeners a little bit more again.
Yes.
You stepping into the lab, the studio as a producer.
Yes, sir.
I understand you had a musical background from the sound system.
True.
But where did the talents for producing come from? Did you have a mentor in the business? Did you have somebody who actually showed you the ropes? Were you self-taught? What was it?
Alright, tell you the truth, my friend, he did an awesome job helping with the project. I really appreciate it from that time till this time, you know. So mad love to be Rebel. So after that, you know, I wanted to experiment. So, you know, I bought my Logic, you know, I bought my keyboard, bought guitar, you know. I couldn't really play them per se, but as time goes by, you'll understand. Once it's something that you love and you have a passion for, you know, because when I first went on the keyboard, I couldn't do nothing, man. Not even a key I could play properly. So afterwards, I bought a melodica. That's a small instrument Augustus Pablo used to play.
Yes.
And it really started from there. I really started vibing with my brethren. It's another guy. His name is Ted Ganon. He lives in Queens. You know, he's very good in playing keys, music, etc. So he showed me a few keys, you know, and I practiced from there. And you know, the melodies just came to me, just so.
Shout out to all the dub masters. My personal favorite was Scientist.
Yeah, man, big up Scientists. I have great love for Scientists. You know, King Tubby.
Yes. Shout out to the new producers who's taking the time out to do dubs.
Yes, sir.
With their releases. Shout out to the son of Augustus, Addis. He's doing a lot of projects with that.
Oh yeah, Addis. Big shout out to Addis. He played on Jawaria too, so you're gonna have a mix with him coming on Jawaria.
Speaking of that, Father G, we got a dub mix for this single that we're talking about, Ja Warrior, and not ready to let the listeners actually hear the single per se as yet, but give us one of those dub mixes over that Ja Warrior.
Yes, sir. Dub wise make you wise, you know.
Yes. Dub version for that upcoming single, Ja Warrior. We're gonna get into that in a minute, but before we touch on that, let's talk about you as a producer for a minute. That was the next step in your career.
Yes, sir.
The first rhythm you produced. What was the name of the rhythm?
The first rhythm I produced was North Wind. North Wind.
Okay, North Wind. Did you release it on your own label? Was it picked up by a label and released? How did you go about actually releasing that first rhythm?
Tell you the truth, I didn't know much about producing at that time. You know, so a friend of mine introduced me to I think his name is Zojak.
Zojak.
Yes, yeah. So he helped me with the whole distribution.
Okay, so your first rhythm, once again.
Yeah, man, my first rhythm.
Straight to Zojak Worldwide.
Yeah, he helped me with the distribution. So big up Aaron.
Big up Zojak, yeah, Worldwide.
Big up Aaron,
that's a digital distributor for folks that needed to know. If you were doing music yourself as a producer, you can't just take your music to iTunes. You have to go through a system.
Yes, definitely. I mean, now you have a few systems like TuneCore and, you know, a few different services, but you have to pay. But, you know, when you work with a distributor, they get in more stores, so it's better for you as a producer.
Okay. So, once again, dropping a little knowledge for the people. Shout out to Zojak once again.
Big up.
They were able to digitally distribute your first project.
Sir.
How did you go about, I know you established a relationship with the artist via the website. How was the transition to being a producer and trying to get these artists to get on your rhythm, see your vision? How was that for the first time?
Tell you the truth, it's difficult. It's pretty difficult. You know what I mean? Because when you promote music, you'll ask an artist, hey, you know, send me songs. I want to promote some songs for you. And he sends the songs. So there's nothing to do more than, you know, you download the song and you promote the song for him. But when producing now, it's a little bit tricky. Everything changes. You know, sometimes you send an artist and say, hey, I have a rhythm for you.
Moving on to sound system, building your own sound system.
Yes, sir.
Becoming a Rastafarian.
Sure.
Imparting your knowledge on the world via a food website, recipes.
Definitely.
Delving back into the music, your first love. You built Jam Rock Vibes.
Yes, sir.
Help promote back catalogs. Help promote upcoming artists.
Definitely.
Then you went into the journey of being a producer, and that's where we at right now.
Yes, sir. Couldn't resist, you know.
Okay, besides Sizzler Kalonji, I know you've mentioned it before. What were some of the other artists that you had on that first rhythm?
I had an artist, he's from UK. His name is Ital Scarcha. He did a song with Iwing, so probably, you know, probably people will know him from that song, you know, because that song gave him a little bit of popularity. So Ital and another guy from Miami, his name is Alexander Starr. He was more like, you know, more R&B flavor.
Okay. Now, what made you put an artist from a different genre onto your rhythm?
At the time, I really like his work because he's great. He has really great vocals. So at the time, I didn't really thought of it. I was just, you know, wanting to bring a different flavor to the rhythm, you know, because I already have, you know, two guys from Jamaica. Ital, he's from UK, so he has like a different accent. So, you know, I wanted to put an artist from, you know, the US that, you know, probably people could relate, you know, because sometimes, you know, we burn fire and people run, and then when you have another artist, you know, they're kind of drawn to the rhythm. So even if he's not singing something about fire, you know, it will give the people the vibe and say, let's listen to the other two songs and read it myself, you know what I mean?
Basically, so you added an artist that you think would have some crossover flavor to the rhythm.
Yes, definitely.
Do you think that having the website and working with artists and promoting younger artists helped you in the process of selections of artists for your rhythm?
Yes, most definitely, because when you listen to certain songs, you know what rhythm would really fit to an artist, what rhythm he would sound good. Like, you know, for example, I don't want to throw myself in, but if you give me a slow rhythm, you're not going to get that vibe and energy because, you know, I like that hyper sound. Versus, you know, another artist, you know, he likes to sing. For example, Luciana, you could send him anything. Okay. You know, he flows over it like water.
Okay, well, I can't blame you. You say you're growing up and you're looking at Papa's son. So
yeah,
I kind of understand where you're coming
from. He's hanging out with Papa's son kids and stuff.
Okay, so moving past the first rhythm, obviously you had some type of success or you had some type of inspiration from releasing that first rhythm that it made you move on to doing other works.
Actually, the first rhythm, I didn't really move on per se to another rhythm. What I did was, I still didn't 100%, you know what I'm doing correctly because I'm, you know, just started to get into the producing. So after releasing the rhythm, it did pretty good, you know, a lot of blog sites and some radio plays and stuff. But, you know, I still think the songs could get further, you know. So I contacted my friend who lives in Queens, Ted Ganang, and said, hey man, you know, I have some tracks. You know, I released the tracks already, but, you know, I think they could, you know, go far. So he said, okay, I'm gonna do some demo remixes. And, you know, he did some demo remixes and he had sent them to me. I like the vibe, but, you know, because it's just him, you know, you needed another flavor. So I link up with, you know, a couple guys. Mungo's High Five, Jamie Bostrom, Max Rubber Dub, Santi G, and a few other guys. So we did a remix of the actual rhythm that I released. And that's where it really took off. The remixes, the Northwind remixes with Sizzler and Lutan Fire and the others. That's where it really took off.
Okay.
So that's where, you know, my motivation started building right there. So yeah, you know.
Okay. So when you say remixes, is it totally different rhythms it was being put on, or was it a dub mix of the original rhythm?
It was different versions, you know, dubstep, drum and bass, jungle, you know, stuff that, you know, so, I mean, I listen to all different types of music, even growing up in Jamaica, but, you know, it's something totally different from the reggae, even though, you know, reggae is the parent still.
Again, I hope aspiring artists, producers are taking notes right there, because that was a very smart business move to even further the shelf life of the original rhythm.
Definitely.
Okay. Chesapeake, that's an artist that I personally love listening to.
Yeah, man.
You've worked with
Everybody's, yeah. Yes, sir.
Where did that come about?
I always loved Chesapeake Vibration from promoting his music. His voice is very unique.
Yes.
You know, he has a very, not small voice, but it's very unique. So I always have a love and respect for him. And I really do like the, you know, the things that he sing about and mention in his songs. So I really wanted to work with him. So I reached out and said, hey, you know, I have, you know, a couple instrumental. I'd like to do some work with you. And he's like, yeah, no problem. You know, so that's where it really started. I sent him a bunch of different rhythms, and he did probably 4 songs, you know. You only hear 1 song, so we only release 1 song, but we still have some unreleased stuff.
Well, it's always good to have something in the stash ready to release whenever you're ready.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're gonna get into you transitioning from a producer to an artist now, but before we do that, knowing that you worked with a lot of younger artists through the website,
yes, sir.
Were you able to pull any new artists into the business through being a producer? Were they artists, besides the ones that you mentioned earlier, that you went out and you would say you found or you nurtured to the point where they're at now and they're correct?
Younger artists, correct?
Yes.
I would say younger artist that I've worked with, his name is Chaddy Royal. We only did 1 song, but yes, definitely.
Okay.
And I did a song for his, you know, he has an upcoming album, so I did a song for him, so definitely.
Okay, so look out for that Chaddy Royal album coming out 2016.
Equal, right, yes.
Okay. You made a transition again, and you decided that you were going to become the artist, the man stepping behind the mic.
Yes, out of frustration.
Out of frustration.
Yeah, man.
So tell us about that frustration. What happened that made you decide that you want to be the one in the booth?
Well, the frustrating point was, as I said, you know, promoting music is totally, you know, different from producing. I'm speaking for myself, you know, I can't talk for anybody else. You have a particular idea for a project, and, you know, you would call the artist, or you would talk via email, and you would talk specifically like, you know, okay, we are working on K.L.C.S project, so we need songs, you know, mentioning K.L.C., or, you know, something wrapped around K.L.C., His Majesty, or Marcus Garvey, or whoever. And, you know, you probably would get a totally different music, and you'd say, oh man, you know, but at the end of the day, you pay for the product, so, you know, you should be able to get what you want, really, you know. And yeah, so the friction started there, you know, when we weren't seen eye to eye, per se, you know what I mean? Not all artists, I don't want to mention any names specific.
We don't have to mention names.
Yeah, man, big up all of the artists.
It's understandable. It's part of the struggle of being a producer, working with an artist, getting the artist to see your vision.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you went through that phase where...
Really frustrated.
You were frustrated.
Yes. Because, you know, sometimes you have the idea, you get the vocals, and you hear the door slam, boom, and you tell the artist, hey, could you probably just voice this little part again or so? And, you know, not everybody really wants to do that, you know what I mean? So, you know, my empress said to me, because she saw the frustration, she said, man, you talk so much, why don't you write some music? So I said, okay, all right. Because at first I thought she was just telling me, chat too much, man. But, you know, she really gave me a motivation.
Okay, so the motivation came from the empress to start putting pen to paper.
Yeah, because she has to chat enough, so okay. Right, you know?
So you started out actively penning songs, you're writing songs. Was it a catalog of songs you built up, or was the first song that you put on paper the song that made you step into the booth and say, I'm going to record this song now?
I bought a microphone to record my melodica. So afterwards, you know, I wrote a little song and I sent to my friend. He's an artist also. His name is Teacher D. He's from Jamaica, he's living in Germany. So big up Teacher D. And he said to me, it was just probably 8 bars. He said, man, lyrics them sound good, but you sound too aggressive. You have to calm it down. And, you know, he explained a few things. So I said, all right. Still kind of frustrating right there, you know what I mean? But it's good to really listen. But he told me the right things, you know, he said, you know, calm down, and, you know, sometimes he could express certain things differently, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I kind of get the idea from there. And the first song I wrote was Give Thanks and Praise. It was during the time where you had the Stop and Frisk, Eric Gardner. So I was watching the TV, you know, seeing all this madness, and I just sat, and Ted Gunnan had sent me a rhythm that he was working on. I just sat and I wrote the whole song, probably 10-15 minutes.
Okay, I want to apologize to the listeners because we did not introduce that song properly at the start of the program. the song that you heard before we started the interview was actually Give Thanks and Praise.
Yes, sir.
That was your first.
First time.
Ah, boy.
And big up the Empress that did the harmonies. You know, Empress Nicole.
For first attempt, once again.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Your first attempt at the rhythms.
Yes, sir.
Was pretty much successful.
Yes, you get first.
Your first attempt at actually being an artist, we're sitting here, we're listening to it now. So you're basically, everything that you put your mind to is coming to fruition.
Yeah, man, definitely.
I'm gonna point that out and keep encouraging you that that's very great.
Anything possible, man. Once you put the brain to it, you know, and you have lungs, you have ear in your body.
Okay.
You're good, you know?
Apart from you being that artist now, you were also producer in the past, so you can take time with your projects. You're putting out your projects the way you want to.
Yes, definitely.
A little while ago, we just listened to a dub mix for the debut single.
The Ja Warrior.
Ja Warrior.
Yeah, it's will be out next month, 18th, distributed by Ital VP Music.
Okay.
VP Records.
Again, once again, your business is straight. Shout out to VP Records.
Yeah,
Father German, let's let our listeners hear that Ja Warrior, the actual song now.
And big up K.L.S.S from the Ja Warrior, because he's the producer. He made the rhythm. And the dub mix was made up mix. You know, his name is Al, Breadwinner. He's a great guy. He did some works with Big Youth, so big up K.L.S. and Al, Breadwinner.
Okay, so ready up for release.
And Empress Janet.
Ready up for release next Monday is the Ja Warrior track we're about to get into now. TGM Radio, King Lion Caribbean Showcase. Yes, King Ital Rebel, single Ja Warrior, available for release. Oh, available next Monday, released digitally.
Definitely.
Okay. Apart from your new release coming out next Monday, once again, Ja Warrior, the single, where can fans go online to see you, maybe videos, if you've gotten to that point as yet, listen more music from you,
okay.
Reach out, touch you?
You can find us on YouTube. I have a YouTube page, Ital at Vivo. We actually released a video for Ja Warrior single. So there's a video there. SoundCloud at King Ital Rebel. And Facebook, King Ital Rebel.
So you got the Vivo on YouTube already?
Yeah, man.
Ah, boy.
Yeah, King Ital, I mean, Ja Warrior just got added to VH1 playlist.
Nice, nice,
so, yeah.
nice.
Yeah, man.
Definitely motivating to see artists as yourself, young as yourself, coming out the box, handling the business properly.
Definitely.
I'm proud of you, man.
Appreciate it, man. It's a great joy, even to be here, you know. Big up King Lion, the whole Fire Being show, you know.
Okay.
The Caribbean, Fire Being, you know what I mean?
Okay. Okay, now, touching on the single again, Ja Warrior. We played the dub mix earlier. That project, explain that project to us. So you're going to get the single.
Yes, the single will be out, as you mentioned, the 18th. The dub mixes are coming probably next year. We'll have 5 different mixes, and they're all analog, you know, not no, you know, computer stuff. Big analog board mixes.
Okay.
To tape to, you know, to the digital.
And you're doing that for, once again, your love of the original sound
Yeah, man.
system.
You know, that warm tape feel, because when the track play, even though it's a new track, it still have that old feel, because, you know, that's running through the tape. You hear the hiss sound and you know, all of that.
Have you been to the UK before?
No, I've never been to the UK. I have to go to...
You have that UK vibe to you.
Yeah.
That's the reason I asked. So hopefully on your journeys, it takes you out to the UK, because where you're coming from, I can see that you're definitely going to enjoy a trip to the UK.
Give thanks. I also released a song for a UK producer, Grimbit. It's more of a, you know, not reggae per se, it's more like IDM. He doesn't say EDM, IDM, more fast-paced music. You know, a herb song. I heard it's big in Scotland, so yeah, man, enough love to everybody on the side there. You know what I mean?
Okay, what encourages you to do music outside of the reggae genre?
Because of the support. Support is huge. Like right now, we coming out with Jawaria remixes that's dropping in January, and that consists of 9 remixes from 9 different guys from Israel, Canada, UK, Amsterdam, so many places I can't even remember. But big up everybody on the album. You know what I mean?
Okay, you seem like you definitely found a formula of how to go about with your releases. Okay, as far as you growing as an artist now, you chose to have different producers on your projects.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I don't believe in being selfish, you know?
Okay, so that was a conscious effort to bring in other people to work with you.
Definitely.
Okay. Down the line, do you plan on doing your own music? If you haven't already, because I know you have a lot in the stash.
I don't fully over, meaning...
Okay, are you recording over your own production?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you guys have a pre-release song for me, Jana Dead. It's gonna be on my upcoming album. That's a beat that was made by me, and I'd sent it to my friend who helped produce Jawaria. He played the bass line on it.
Okay, and what is the inspiration behind Jana Dead?
I was fooling around in my studio, and I came up, with a nice organ sound, a nice bubble, and it's like, the instruments, they were talking to me, but the bass line wasn't there, so I was saying, wow, this doesn't have, any backbone, so I need something on it. But before I send it to my friend, it's like I just look in the air and pick out a song. This probably sounds silly, but, I just, went in the studio and just freestyled the song, because I just heard Jana Dead within the rhythm. It's just like talking to me, honestly. So I just went in the studio, freestyled the song, came, listened to it, and I changed a few words and re-sing again and sent it to my friend, and he played the bass line.
Okay, at this point in time, I'm trying for the listeners to get a glimpse of your talent as an artist. So once again, you said it's a pre-release, but King Lion Caribbean Showcase, TGM Radio, we have that pre-release in the studio.
Definitely. Inspiration from the Most High, so definitely.
So we're gonna let the listeners hear this pre-release coming out 2016.
Correct. It's gonna be on my album.
King Ital Rebel, Jana Dead. King Ital Rebel.
Yes, sir.
Jana Dead.
No one thought.
Pre-release. Scheduled for release 2016.
Definitely.
Once again, it's refreshing to know as a young artist coming out that you're handling your affairs in such a well-rounded manner.
Appreciate it.
I would think it's from your prior experience doing your own promotion for other artists.
Yes, definitely.
But I look at your bio and I look at things online about you, and I realize that you have built the actual machine that's helping you progress as an artist.
Yeah.
Who are some of the people out there that's helping King Ital Rebel as an artist grow to where you want to be?
I would say K.L.S, definitely, because he's the one, and even Jana Dead, he's mixing that song, and he helped, with the bass line and Jawaria. So K.L.S, Ziggy Black's big up, because the first song I wrote, he actually helped me, went over the words, So definitely Ziggy Black's, Ted Ganan, big up yourself, Nika Rebel, Mama, Papa, Empress Coco, it's definitely. Because when I write my songs mostly, I don't really have much people to share with me. So it's my Empress. She will tell me, and she's not from, Jamaica per se, where she do understand reggae. I think she mostly listens to rock. So when she give me a critique, I kind of listen. Because that rock music is mostly live music. So yeah.
Okay, and apart from the musical aspect, are there other people who's helping you online as far as building your brand?
I would just say my label, Jamrock Vibes, which is powered by me.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Is the website still up and running?
Definitely, every day, 24/7.
Okay, so once again, you can check out Jam Rock Vibes, the website, and this is for a mix of up-and-coming artists. It's a mixture of old catalogs, archive music,
live music,
dub mixes.
Definitely, old school, King Tubby, you know what I mean? Scientist,
Yes.
Lee Scratch.
I'm making my way to the website when we get there. So
only for music, man.
I don't know about the listeners, but I'm making my way to the website. Okay, once again, the 18th next Monday, the new single, Ja Warrior.
Yeah.
Look out for those dub mixes in 2016. And you're working on a full-length project.
Yeah, right now we're working on so many projects because Jenna Dead, the dub mixes will be out. It's 5 different mixes. The remixes will be out 2016.
Yes.
That's 9 mixes. Orange Dollar Fox, big up yourself, also. Yes, and after that I have another project with a friend of mine. He's from Detroit, Green Line. This is a guy, he makes some stuff for Sly and Robbie. So he's mostly into dub music. I have a few over there. There's a dub mix for Jenna Dead. It's called Rumors. So it's titled different. So yes, we have 2 separate dub albums coming, and a remix project coming out, and my album next year. So it's like 4 different projects. We constantly working, right? Yeah, no time to slumber.
Okay. Here at TGM Radio Kingline Caribbean Showcase, we usually do something for the listeners before we tune out.
Yes, sir.
We usually give the listeners something live from the artist.
Yeah, man. Alright. Let's run it.
For the G, we need some with energy too.
Can't give it a cappella to for days, you know?
That's true too.
10 pound of herbs, Bingy a steam the mark, sodium Ital, we run the steam team. Majestic ice, Bingy all at the stream, far right, not just Vatican, or really say been night and day, lion, naya fi blaze, smoking the ice, purple skunk and haze, coconut chalice, Bingy man a go and gauge, high priest bless the coachy and say Bingy blaze. 2nd of November, we still have faith, keep the 3rd eye open, Bingy man as you wake, enough of big steak, still one cake. Touch Bingy, coachy them life at stake. 10 pound of herbs, Bingy a steam the mark, sodium Ital, we run the steam team. Majestic ice, Bingy all at the stream, far right, not just Vatican, or really say been up in the hills, we plant herbs by the pounds, sell it in a town, dime bags and ounce. Have me lioness, we deal with all herbs account, great ones run the season, control the pouts, and a regular we deal with sergeant scout, have to make sure them Levi cheese when them sprout, can't take Babylon a circle the route, make a mistake pass the gate them pronounce. 10 pound of herbs, Bingy a steam the mark, sodium Ital, we run the steam team. Yes sir, that one is called 10 pound of herbs, you know.
Boy.
Chalice in a palm, can't and can't, got to smoke my herbs and chat plant. Healing of the nation, this good for meditation. King Ital grow acres and farms, and I blaze up my herbs, stabilize the body, tranquil all the nerves. King of the forest, Babylon down curse, prescribed by doctors and 9 priest clerks. Give it 20, she wrap it up in her purse. Say she a feed blaze, she nah go to church. Meditative to make you realize earth. Now you Bingy hymns coming from Proverbs. Chalice in a bamboo, but can't and calm. I feel smoke my herbs and chant. Healing of the nation, this good for meditation. King Ital grow acres and farms. Chalice in a bamboo. We have to smoke herbs and the powder, fresh high grade in a the transport. I travel from west to east coast. King Ital of the medical pass code. 24 hours Bingy man of his smoke. Light me chalice, not take out. Wrap it in parcel, ship it by the boats. Could have 1 million, we still not give the Pope. Rather chop down the trees, give all to the goats. Fireman serious, not to joke. Every day the black eye brothers in a coat. Lightning ball, but illness support. We have to smoke herbs and the powder, fresh high grade. King Lion having a transport. I travel from west to east coast. King Ital of the medical pass. Them a say puff, Me chalice now pass. Hear from the show, them I say we move fast. Dirty beast parasite left with name and chuck off. Una see him one cell we out with cross. Just a little thought make way give me pass. Used to burn the fields, now them call it them grass. That we use juggles and the use them go class. Been give man never worry, dirty works can't last. We have to smoke herbs on the border, fresh high grade. Yes, sir. I don't have more.
Yes. Lyrics from Overdrive.
I know that Brooklyn, so you don't know?
King Ital Rebel.
Yes, sir.
Next Monday, digital release, Ja Warrior.
Babe.
Look out for the dub mixes in 2016. Is there anybody you want to shout out before we tune out today?
Mama Rose, you don't know me, I have to pick up Mama Rose, you know, because, you know what I mean, she always guide me as I cup. So Mama Rose, big up yourself, Empress Coco, Martless Lion, Ziggy Blacks, Damas, T-Mar, Promises, No Promises. I have to big up my Empress who would do my harmonies too. Empress Nikki Nicole, that's the and Mahali backup singer, so big up yourself. Grimbit, Orange Dollar Fox, yeah man, Nico Rebel. All of my friends and family, big up yourself. All of the listeners and the fans, and everybody who's been supporting Jamrock Vibes or King Ital from day one. Mad art love, you know? Enough love. Yes, sir.
Much love. TGM Radio, Kingline Caribbean Showcase, Father German, Janelle, DJ Rich, myself, Madden.
Big up, Madden.
It was
Father
a pleasure.
DJ Rich, Father German, Caribbean, Radio Show. Fire behind. You know what I mean?
It was definitely a pleasure.
Yes, sir. It's a joy. Thanks for having me.
Next Monday, look out for that Ja Warrior. Father G, you got something you want to play before we tune out? Or that's it? We're good? Looking forward to the 2016, looking forward to all the releases.
Definitely.
I appreciate what you're doing, the talent, the motivation.
Yeah man, it's a joy, man. Thanks.
Check out the website, Jamrock Vibes.
KingItal.com. Jamrock Vibes Records.
Facebook.
Jamrock Vibes. Twitter, Jamrock Vibes.
YouTube.
YouTube, Jamrock Vibes TV, Ital at Vivo.
Check out the Ja Warrior video on YouTube.
Definitely, going good too.
And check us out next Monday, 4 to 7, TGM Radio, Kingline Caribbean Showcase.
TGM Radio.